In 2019, we came up with an idea here on TVG for a travel show. We named it Across the Tracks. The idea was go and visit racetracks in the communities they reside in. We came up with the show in our first episode here in Lexington, Kentucky. But then a global pandemic hit. The world has changed dramatically. What you're about to see is a world where social distancing didn't exist. We remind you to stay safe and stay healthy. But we think this show is a reminder of how we all need to get across the tracks and explore the world once again. Think of a sports stadium or entertainment venue in your community. They kind of stand out. They're usually monolithic buildings that don't even seem like they quite belong there. When you come to Keeneland Racecourse in Lexington, Kentucky, it's as if this racetrack grew up out of the ground, right into the Commonwealth where it belongs. And when you sit in the grandstand, you start to see that everything the Commonwealth of Kentucky embodies is out here. Just look at the view. When you look off to the right, you can see parts of the legendary Calumet Farm. When you look a little further left of that, there's this black barn that sits off in the distance, and that's intentional. It's there to remind people of the tobacco industry. And then further out, you'll see more rolling hills, and you can see horses on other farms, horses that eventually will go through this sales ring here at Keeneland and win some of the biggest races in the world. Coming to a day at Keeneland is a reminder of what the first president said about this racetrack. And that is, they wanted a place where people could go out and enjoy God's sunshine, take in the fresh air, and watch some horse races. Keeneland's moniker is simple, but yet truly defines this racetrack: racing as it was meant to be. Kentucky is a commonwealth, which in its very rooted meaning hints at why it's one of my favorite areas of the United States. Common belonging to all, and wealth, happiness or riches. How is that not the recipe for a good time? Every good time needs a focal point, and for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, it is the city of Lexington. Founded less than 10 years after the American Revolution gave birth to a nation, Lexington has managed that rarest of balancing acts in modern culture, embracing and appreciating its past while maintaining forward momentum. Having visited Lexington every spring and every fall for the last 20 years, each season makes the experience different. John Prine once sang, "Just give me one extra season so I can figure out the other 4." To understand any season in the Commonwealth and in Lexington, you must understand the significance of bourbon. While varied stories of the beginnings of bourbon are told, it is Kentucky where this spirit was perfected. So much so, it accounts for 95% of the bourbon production in the world. The basic recipe for bourbon is defined and known to many, but the uniqueness of Kentucky distillers and their approach make Kentucky bourbon unmatched for more than 200 years. There's also a home course advantage when it comes to bourbon here. Natural resources like limestone water that can't be naturally replicated elsewhere. Bourbon lovers travel from all over the world to traverse the Bourbon Trail in Kentucky. It is not a laid-out path, but rather destination points of distillers dotted throughout the Commonwealth. And that's what I love. It's your trail. My Bourbon Trail always begins at Justin's House of Bourbon, located on Main Street in Lexington. Co-owned by Justin Sloan and Justin Thompson, Justin Sloan is one of the world's foremost experts on bourbon. This is the perfect place to get a primer on bourbon and to experience it. Just how prevalent is bourbon? I heard a stat once that for every man, woman, and child in Kentucky, there's a barrel and a half of bourbon. Just how prevalent is it?
It's probably higher than that now. With all the expansions going on in the industry, it's mind-blowing. Probably close to 3 now.
3 barrels?
Probably close. Yeah, it's up there.
Per person.
It's up there. It's up there. We got plenty.
I was kidding. You got plenty here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give us an idea of some of the values in the bottles in here, some of the most expensive ones.
Well, that one's probably not for sale, but we've got bottles in here from 40,000 all the way down to 14 on our regular side over there.
If you're advising someone who's never had bourbon before, one, what should they be looking at, and then 2, how should they drink it?
Yeah, so proof is a big thing, especially if you're not used to higher proof alcohol. Proof would, find something that's in the 80s, 86, or 90s maybe if you want to. But you can also add water to anything to proof it down. So it's however you want to drink it. There's no wrong way. If you like it cold and put a couple ice cubes in it, it'll mellow it down a little bit. Or if you like it neat, do it. If you want to put Coke in it, it doesn't matter. As long as you're drinking it, it's fine.
Yeah. I'll admit, I resisted drinking bourbon during my early years visiting Lexington. When I first tried it, I didn't understand it. It felt like a flamethrower going down.
This is a Blanton's that they did for a festival in Poland. So this was an international release of Blanton's. Yeah, it started in Kentucky, went over there, and then came back. It'll be super soft. It's 100 proof, but it'll be soft and it'll be really sweet, and you'll get a lot of the caramel vanilla. That's what the key words, and just like there's wine, there's key words, and bourbon, there's caramel vanilla. There shouldn't be much spice to this, but it's pretty good.
Oh, that smells very good.
It's going to be really nice. And just take a little sip to warm up your palate, because this is your first bourbon today.
And it won't be my last bourbon today, I'll tell you that. Do I let it go over the top of my tongue? Is there any particular? Okay.
Just take a little sip and...
Oh my gosh, that's smooth.
That'll warm up your palate. The next one will be where you can really get some better flavors.
Now it's warming up my whole insides.
Yeah.
It's my palate.
First bourbon always does that. But this is the second sip will be a whole lot better.
The second sip was so good. The only problem is I don't have a third sip left.
I know. Well, we got some more whiskey.
That is outstanding. That is very, very good.
Cheers.
Very good.
Oh, it's really creamy. It's really good. Yeah. Is that use? That's use. Yeah.
Very, very good.
Which one do you go back to?
I mean, when you look at bourbon in Kentucky and you just think of what the Commonwealth brings to the rest of the country, I mean, bourbon and horse racing are just two of the big exports.
Horse racing is better with bourbon, and bourbon is better with horse racing. It's bourbon, horse racing, basketball. You forgot basketball.
Yeah. Kentucky won't let you forget about basketball. It is here where basketball and the passion for it has been perfected. With no professional sports teams in the Commonwealth, both the University of Kentucky and the University of Louisville fill the void completely. Lexington is Wildcat country and UK. And as one proud supporter put it, quote, "If we win a national championship, we can take that trophy to every corner of the Commonwealth. The Cardinals, not so much." Talk is one thing. Experiencing Big Blue Madness says it all. In Division I men's college basketball, no program has won more games than the University of Kentucky. And their fans are a big reason for it. Tonight, you witness why. The rabid support of the University of Kentucky Wildcats and their fans enjoy Blue Madness. Big Blue Madness is billed as the official introduction of both the UK women's and men's basketball teams. Students camp out weeks for a ticket, and fans of all ages feel fortunate to have a seat at all in a sold-out Rupp Arena, where nearly 20,000 people come to watch what amounts to an inter-squad scrimmage. But it's so much more than that. It's a chance to remember teams past, glorious moments, championship moments, and most importantly, feel what it means to be a part of Big Blue Nation.
The Wildcats know how to play above the rim. Go, Cats, go.
So y'all about ready for some blues? Yeah! Y'all about ready for some blues?
All right, so I've heard about the lit. What's in it? All right, I'd like one of those. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Lit. All right, so lit Long Island iced tea. They looked at me like I just dropped in from another planet by calling it lit, but we're about to experience what is the drink you're supposed to get at TD's, the lit, which we'll do with a Long Island iced tea. Every alcohol that they have in here is in the list. Vodka, rum, tequila, and gin. I'm in! How long have you been playing music?
Oh, Lord. I'm gonna say ever since I was 13, because see, I don't give up my age.
T.D. Young is a legend in the Kentucky music scene, whose talent has taken him around the world. And on Monday nights only, the legend takes the stage at his club, T.D.'s Lounge, for a set that will stir your soul.
When did you open up TD's?
One day, I said, I got something on my mind, and let's do it different. And I said, let's play some blues. And they said, oh, blues? You don't know about no blues. I said, well, I started off playing blues, so this is what I'm gonna do. And one or two customers come in and say, can we stay? Yeah, go ahead. Next thing we know, we got 10, then we got 20. Then we have a bass player. Next thing we know, we got full band. And then next thing we know, we got Blues on Monday.
Was it always the guitar?
Always the guitar.
And was it always jazz and blues?
Actually, we started off with blues. We opened up Aretha Franklin, James Brown, the Jackson 5. We opened up for a lot of people. We wasn't but kids on the road, but we was having fun, and they was making money.
What about the history of Lexington when it comes to music?
I think Lexington alone has some of the greatest musicians in the world. I've been all over the world. I've been to Europe, France, Italy, touring, and Lexington has some of the best musicians in the world right here. When I go places, I tell everybody, I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. I'm not ashamed of my city. They say I have my own style, but I approach it from my heart. I play from my heart, so you don't know what's gonna come out at any given time. And I don't know, I don't listen to a lot of guitars, I just play what I feel.
That right there is playing from the heart. Playing from the heart.
Put your hands together.
Live music, when orchestrated by someone who lives it like T.D. Young, can nourish your heart and soul. The same is true of a meal when it has been thoughtfully planned, prepared, cooked, and served. Chef Weta Michael and her husband received their initial training in New York, but it was the pull of home that kept calling and a philosophy to return to Kentucky. That philosophy? These are Kentucky-based restaurants, and they should feature locally grown ingredients. Before farm to table was in vogue, Chef Weta was practicing it and believed in it.
It's experiencing what the Commonwealth is about, what racing is meant to be, and I feel Holly Hill Inn incorporates what the Commonwealth is all about, being out in the countryside. It's it. And then you have this fantastic meal. What did you want the Holly Hill Inn experience to be for diners?
The Holly Hill Inn is a very vulnerable spot. It's like a secret place. You know, you come up a little road that's all overgrown off the corner. You got to know where you're going. And there aren't enough of those kinds of places in our world anymore. I wanted the Holly Hill Inn to be an expression of agriculture, local agriculture, because I feel like you can't really have a Kentucky cuisine without the Kentucky farmer. More than any other area in this mid-Atlantic region or in the South is very defined by our farming population because we have such great seasons. We are fourth in the nation for the number of small farmers that we have in Kentucky. And what that does is it just puts us into close proximity to so much goodness coming from the earth. So I feel like that's one thing that makes our food second to none.
As you go through the numerous restaurants you have now, you don't repeat yourself.
Well, I'm focused, our group, on scratch cooking and local agriculture. Places inspire me, and always looking at what's produced in Kentucky. When we did Honeywood out at the Summit. The idea there was, can we express Kentucky in the middle of the most developed corridor of Lexington? Can we say, we're going down Nicholasville Road, but we're going to express the cuisine of Kentucky here. We're going to express the farm here. I'm very influenced by all of our young chefs that work in our company. They work very hard. I'm awed by what they create. Now, someone like our chef here at Holly Hill Inn, Tyler, he has worked for me for 9 years. So like we have been cooking together for a long, long time. And that's something that's so satisfying.
Okay, so what are we having here today?
This is local lamb.
Okay.
And then a butternut squash puree.
Okay.
A little bit of lamb jus and crispy kale, and the Jerusalem artichokes too are fantastic.
Oh.
And there's probably a little pulled lamb. So a lot of times we'll pair a rack of lamb with a little bit of lamb shoulder too. So everything grown in Kentucky on that plate.
I need to try this. That's
Bon
what I love.
appetit.
Yeah, bon appetit. And what I love about all your dishes is there's so many different flavors that are happening at different times.
Yes, we try to emphasize like very heritage recipes in April and October so people can get a true sense of our history, but also where that cuisine is today.
I love when I start from the top and I get to the bottom, there'll be something else. Like after I'm done with the lamb, there's something else I'm going to discover down there as well. Beyond excellent. So very good. When you have a plate sometimes, you kind of get it from the first bite. Like, that's it. I'm going to have that bite over and over and over again. Not with Chef Weta inspired creations. You're going to have a different bite every single time. And this is a prime example of what you will get when you come to Holly Hill Inn or any of our other properties. Just want to eat.
All across the world, there are areas of interest in industry claiming to be some of the best. In and around Lexington are farms dedicated to the breeding and raising of thoroughbred racehorses, and it is indisputable. No place on the planet rivals this area. There simply is no equal to what you will find along the roads designated as the Scenic Bluegrass Driving Tour. Off these roads and behind the gates of the farms adorning the bluegrass countryside are breeding operations which combined produce on average 35% of the annual foal crop in the United States. However, when you talk about thoroughbreds born in Kentucky, it's not the number of horses, it's the quality. And the first indication of how sought after the Kentucky Thoroughbred is takes place here, in the Keeneland Sales Pavilion. While Keeneland offers other sales throughout the year, it is the September sale where the best of the best are sold. Offering horses bred in and outside the borders of the Commonwealth, the amount of money spent at this auction is staggering. In 2006, an all-time record for total spent was set at $399,791,000 and a meaningless $800 at that point. This included the highest priced yearling ever sold at the September sale, a purchase of $11.7 million. Keeneland sales have produced 22 Kentucky Derby winners and counting. And in one of the most symbiotic relationships any sport has ever had, the Keeneland Sales Pavilion is on the grounds of Keeneland Racecourse, a jewel amongst thoroughbred racetracks, and a place where many Keeneland sales graduates will come back to race in some of the biggest races in the sport.
There's no racetrack in America on a Sunday where you can look out and see the track apron shoulder to shoulder. Keeneland is the exception. Julien Leparoux at 9-1. That's the first race in our pick 5. We got a long way to go, but the nice thing is we've got a beautiful day ahead here at Keeneland.
Keeneland as a racetrack has an enduring motto: racing as it was meant to be. In a very similar manner as the city of Lexington itself, Keeneland has found a way to keep original traditions in place while moving forward with new ideas for generations of new fans. On October 15, 1936, Keeneland kept its promise and brought its vision to central Kentucky with its first race meet, a fall meet, lasting 9 days. Keeneland has left the tradition of short meets in place with just a few weeks of racing in the spring and just a few weeks of racing in the fall. This approach has allowed Keeneland to create an idyllic and lucrative experience for those who are there to race their horses and the fans in attendance who are there to watch and wager on them.
The paddock setup at Keeneland Racecourse is like none other in America. There's actually 2 paddocks. The horses first start over on the other side, get saddled under some trees, and then they come out to the main area where the riders come out of the jockey's room, get their instructions from the owners and trainers, and then get a leg up. So your official call for riders up. But what makes it even more astonishing is the sycamore tree. The original property here at Keeneland was about 440 acres. That sycamore tree has been here almost as long as there has been a Keeneland racecourse. So you see it in paintings, you see it in pictures, and it is breathtaking up close. And it really has come to define how this paddock experience is so different than any other racetracks across the country. Really kind of tied into what we talked about, looking out from the grandstand and seeing just the natural surroundings of the Commonwealth. It continues here in the paddock as well with the giant sycamore tree.
On the very first day of racing in the history of Keeneland, horses raced for total purse money of $7,380. Now, the spring and fall meets offer over $770,000 in total purse money every day. These large purses bring the best horses in the country to Keeneland and attract horses from overseas. In turn, the quality of racing at Keeneland gives those who bet on the races a chance to make racks on racks.
If the 6 got there, that horse is 64-1. That's what I love about Keeneland. One race can change your fortunes. $130 winner may be posted on the board here. It's between the 6, 2 Emmys, and the 3 untraceable. And I think the 6 got there at 64-1.
And that's my horse.
That's your horse. Even better. Well done. Do you think you got it? I couldn't.
I can tell from here.
It's a tough angle. Another thing about Keeneland, you might be standing to the owner of the racehorse you're betting. They might be standing right next to you. Unfortunately, the 6 finished second at 64-1, but they were very, very happy. The access at Keeneland is unlike any other racetrack. You can get right up to the athletes, both the equine and human athletes. No better venue than Keeneland to really expose people to what thoroughbred racing is all about.
There is a major difference between a tourist destination and a return destination. A tourist destination is a checklist. Been there, done that. A return destination is, I want to do that again. Keeneland and Lexington, Kentucky have kept my interest and me wanting to return for over 2 decades now. This is why you should always venture across the tracks. You never know what's waiting to be discovered on the other side.